It is an honor to be the presenter for this award. If you haven't read Ghost Factories, please do. Search USA Today, Ghost Factories. It is terrific. I read it, I couldn't believe what I read, and I read it again. And I was amazed at the quality of the journalism and shocked by what the article contains. More than a decade ago, the EPA was warned that soil in hundreds of U.S. neighborhoods might be dangerously contaminated with lead from factories closed long ago. Alison Young filed more than 140 open records requests to determine what government agencies had and had not done to investigate the 464 sites of potential historical lead smelting operations. She and her team found that the state and federal regulators had done little to check out the sites or warn residents of the danger, leaving thousands of families and children in harm's way. Lead from old smelters settles into the topsoil, where children can easily be exposed to it. Lead is a potent neurotoxin. Minute amounts can cause decreased IQ, delayed puberty, and other irreversible damage to children, who are the most susceptible to its effects. According to EPA standards, lead levels in children's play areas should not exceed 400 parts per million. But this team we are honoring tonight found that lead levels in excess of 2,000 parts per million existed in several neighborhoods, and lead levels of over 3,400 parts per million existed in Cleveland, Ohio, Portland, Oregon, and Carteret, New Jersey. The Ghost Factory series has resulted in the EPA re-examining risks at those 464 sites nationwide, following calls for action by 7 U.S. senators. More than a dozen state agencies have also been conducting investigations, and several sites are already targeted for cleanups. Ghost Factories stood out in the web journalism category because the investigation was reported and written as a digital-first project, harnessing the storytelling power of the newspaper's online platforms. Ghost Factories made effective use of a wide range of innovative reporting and storytelling techniques, combining the research of archival maps, photographs, dusty old records, and the use of state-of-the-art scientific instruments and digital publishing technology. In an effort to further reach out to people living in the affected areas of the smelter neighborhoods, USA Today distributed more than 1,000 free copies of the print newspaper explaining how to find information about every local site online. Ghost Factories combines journalistic rigor, technical innovation, a humane sensibility, and an implacable drive for accountability. We are proud to present the 2013 Hillman Prize for Web Journalism to Alison Young and Peter Eisler.
On behalf of the entire Ghost Factories team at USA Today, we want to thank the Hillman Foundation for this amazing honor and being in the company of so much great work that we're seeing here this evening. Ghost Factories had a massive multimedia interactive with it that involved more than 14 videos, thousands of pages of records, hundreds of interactive historic maps. It was built to empower people and communities to take action where they are. And it involved more than 24 journalists from across USA Today's newsroom. So also here with me and Pete Eisler, come back over here, you guys. I said, don't leave me. Along with Pete Eisler and myself here this evening are Stan Wilson, who led the technical efforts at Gannett Digital to build the interactive, and Kristen Doremus, who was instrumental in its really engaging design. And I hope you all will go to Ghost Factories and check it out. Our editors at USA Today, John Hilkirk in particular, who is not able to be here tonight, took a tremendous leap of faith in signing off on, frankly, what most editors would have considered a pretty crazy proposal. Conduct detailed individual investigations of 464 potential, we didn't even know they were factories for sure, potential old factory sites that were so old that almost nothing was known about their operations or even where many of them existed. And they not only signed off on doing that, but then they signed off on the idea to allow 2 reporters, myself and Pete, to become trained to use these sophisticated X-ray analyzers and go off about the country testing soil around these various sites. So for 2 months, Pete and I traveled and knocked on doors of hundreds of people's homes, asking if we could come and test the soil in their yards. We went from Carteret, New Jersey, to Cleveland, Ohio, to Minneapolis, St. Paul, up to Portland, Oregon. Before we went on the road, we wondered whether anyone would even let us in their yards. But that shouldn't have been a worry at all. Most of the people that we encountered as we went from neighborhood to neighborhood went out of their way to help us. They simply wanted to protect their children, and they had no idea that they were in danger. The magnitude of the problem became quickly apparent as the analyzers, with just 80 seconds of X-rays scanning the dirt, repeatedly detected dangerous levels of lead in the very places that children had been playing shortly before we got there. It was in the dusty doorway of this little girl's playhouse in Hammond, Indiana, under a dropped baseball bat in suburban Milwaukee, under a dump truck in Philadelphia that a little boy had just stopped playing with, and in the outfield of a baseball diamond here in New York City in Red Hook Park. One of the beauties of these analyzers is we're able to give instant results to these families. And honestly, I wasn't quite prepared when we started out on this on how shocking that news was going to be to these families. Here, they were sending their kids out to play in what should have been the most safe place, their own yards. And yet, when they were going out there and doing something simple as playing in the dirt, they were being exposed to a potential neurotoxin that could forever affect their lives. And they were even more shocked and really outraged that the government had known that they were living in potential fallout zones for more than 10 years and had never warned them. The series has had tremendous impact, and that is one of the things that we are most grateful for. In addition to some of the things that have already been said, the Inspector General for the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency is now investigating the agency's performance in how it examines the risk from lead smelters in communities. But on a very personal level, the series has empowered so many families across the country to take direct actions to protect their children from lead-contaminated soil. Like most parents, when they thought about lead, they thought about lead paint. That's what we all think about, right? They weren't thinking about the soil in their yards. So thank you very much for honoring this work and helping hopefully make it happen more often.